Everybody say hello to Andy. Andy's our tech guru. He helps us, he records all of these discussions so that if you miss a class, you can listen to it there. And it's on Blackboard, it's where you can find them. How many of you took intro with us? Spencer? Okay, so most of you know. If you didn't, though, you'll know now. Say hello to Spencer. Spencer's teaching assistant extraordinaire. Hey, Ethan, how you doing? Good. It was so strange last semester to have your wife in my class and not you. And now it's got to have you, and I just got used to that. Now I got to get used to you being in the class and not her. Is she still at Post Oak?
No, she went off to HR for a oil and gas company.
Sweet.
She graduated. She got a big person job.
That a girl. And are you still at your?
Post Oak Hotel.
Oh, you went to there from the Westin?
Yes.
You guys both went over there?
Yes.
You guys are cracking me up.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I call marriage, man. That's good. That's impressive. Okay, good. Andy, we good? You guys can hear me in the back okay? All right, very cool. All right, so this is a class on leadership, right? So what does leadership mean to you? How about we start way in the back? Yes, sir. Tell me your name.
My name is Warren.
Warren. Hold on a second. Andrew, oh, I'm sorry. Andy, we got to have some WD-40 around here someplace for that door. Man, I couldn't hear a word of what Warren was saying. I'm just having fun. Yeah, I'll talk to the right people. Please. No reason to have the class. That was great. All right. Awesome. Thank you very much. Somebody else want to chime in? Hi. Let's wait till the door closes. How about you, young man? Tell me your name. Yes, sir, right here. With that cool-looking shirt on. Ryan. Okay, Ryan. What about leadership to you?
So leadership is somebody who directs the team in a positive manner.
Okay.
And always looks out for the best interests of everybody in the team. And is willing to make the sacrifices to make sure that everybody does well.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that's good too. How about on this side of the room? What about you, sir, with the gold? Sorry, I don't know your name. Tell me your name. Samir. What does leadership mean to you, Samir?
Kind of the same thing, but I think it's more like it kind of goes with management as well. That way you can manage the team and help the leaders.
Yeah, very interesting that you brought up management. Is leadership and management the same thing? Let's learn that right this second. They're two different things, right? Leadership is about establishing the culture, creating the broad vision, direction, motivating, influencing, right? Management, and creating the plan, the strategies. Management is about executing those strategies. Is that fair? All right, now, can a manager be a leader? Can a leader be a manager? Yeah, okay. It's just they're exercising different aspects of their skill set and tool set at different times. Is that fair? All right. So let's keep that in mind going forward so we don't get confused between leadership and management. Leadership is typically considered to be the thinking, strategic aspects, management, the execution aspects. But they can certainly blend into each other. All right, very good. So who's a leader that you think is a good role model for you? Could be anybody historically or now, or who do you think is a good leader? You want to start? Yes, you may. Yeah. Since you're on the end, you can't look behind you, but you can phone a friend if you prefer. You thought that Michelle Obama and Barack Obama were leaders? I think a lot of people would probably agree with you. Yes, sir? Your GM is a good leader, if you don't mind. Where do you work? Papacitos. Okay, very good. And what makes him a good leader? It's a he or a she? And you like that. And he does it in a positive way? Supportive way? Mostly? Okay, that's fair. Aha! Now I'm looking at Miss Nike here. She knows who I'm looking at. How about you? Effective leader?
My mom.
She's a good leader. A lot of mothers are really good leaders. My mother was a good leader. Didn't know it at the time. But I figured it out after the fact. She's darn. You know, you're going to tell her that later. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, good. How about in the back row? Yes, ma'am? How about you? What kind of coffee are you drinking there? Iced latte. How many of you are caffeine freaks? Oh, we got quite a few of you in here. Yeah, okay. You need it for this afternoon class? Is that what's going on here? Tell me your name, ma'am. Alexis. And who's a leader that you subscribe to or you really like? Your mom as well? All right, good. And what makes your mom a good leader?
She's gone through a lot of obstacles in her life, so
Okay.
still provided the best.
Isn't that nice? Yeah. Cassidy, what makes your...
Same thing. I mean, she was like a single mom to me and my sister.
Yeah.
She's recently got her master's. Well, like 5 years ago.
Ah,
I mean,
yeah. For me, that's recently. Yeah, right.
Yeah, so she's got her master's. She's now getting a divorce, which she's been wanting for a long time.
Okay.
Really proud of her.
She's taking courage. Yeah, that takes a lot of courage. Yeah, good for her. And I didn't ask you, why the Obamas?
Well, I feel like they give a lot of people in this country hope and courage, and
Yeah.
they were an inspiration to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think those are all very fair points. Yeah, good. Okay. Well, good. So, listen, as we go through the course and through the semester, try to identify leaders that exhibit qualities that you ascribe to and try to emulate those. Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. All right, hold on. Tell me one more time what your name is. Starts with a C.
Oh, no.
Oh, wasn't even close. Tell me again.
Close. D.
D. It is with a D. Tell me.
Dorinka.
Dorica. I called on her 20 times a year ago and never got her name right.
Maybe now.
But I'm going to now. Dorica.
With an N. Dorinka.
See?
We'll get there.
Dorinka. I got it right then? Okay. All right. Good to have you back in class. All right. So think about models for the type of leader that you want to be. Okay? And we've got several short-term goals for this class, but our long-term goal for the entire course is for you to develop your own leadership philosophy. Right? And I'm actually going to ask you to write that out for me as your last paper in this class, and so that you'll have it to reflect on and refer back to as you develop in your career. So that's ultimately where we're trying to end up. So we'll talk about a lot of different qualities and characteristics of effective leaders, not so effective leaders. And I want you to also look outside the classroom for those examples and qualities and be thinking about those qualities that you want to exhibit as a leader. Can you learn just as much from watching a poor leader in action as you can from a good leader, an effective leader? Yeah. So it's not a waste of time to work with, typically under, an ineffective leader as long as you're learning from it. It can be pretty unhealthy. Yeah, and learn what you've got to learn from it, right? Maybe a teacher. All right, good. So that's kind of our long-term thing. Let's talk a little bit about the structure of the class, and then we're going to roll into a couple of other areas. So you guys are, I'm assuming, junior, senior for the most part? Let me just do a quick survey. How many of you have had your hospitality law class? Raise your hand. And if you haven't had it, are you taking it now? You're not taking it now. You're taking it now. All right. Have you had cost controls? Are you taking that now? Oh, yeah. Are you a junior? Senior? Junior. You haven't had those two classes? And you okay. All right. So you're kind of floating. All right. Well, we'll just make do when something comes up. If you're like, I don't have any idea what you're talking about, then we'll take some time to explain it. Okay? And the reason I ask that is because, the reason I ask that is because this is what's known as a capstone class, right? So a capstone class is meant to incorporate all of your other classes and the things that you've studied there, right? And so we will. We're going to talk about human resources. We're going to talk about the law. We're going to talk about costs. Sanitation comes into play. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff, and so you need to have that background. So just do the best you can, and then if you let us know if you have some questions. Okay. Now, one other thing that's really important about this class and the structure of it is that my goal is to prepare you to go to work and to step out of this classroom and go into a business. So I treat this like a business. And I'm going to hold you accountable as though we were in a business. So I need you to be prepared for that. Right? Now, what you might be used to in your other classes, or me in intro, law class was a little closer to this. Those of you how many of you took the law class with me? 33, 50? Quite a few. All right. Well, that was a little closer to this course. And here's what I mean. Many of you are used to professors that put up PowerPoints and go A, B, C, D, E, and F. That's not the way I teach. Life is not like that. Going to work at a company is not like that. Things move quickly. Change happens very quickly. And you need to be able to connect the dots and to adapt. That's how you bring value to an organization. Okay? Let me ask you this quick question. If you were in an interview for a job that you really wanted, and let's say it was a management job at a department of a hotel, and I've forgotten your name, I apologize. Colin. Colin, if I were the interviewer and I said, hey, Colin, what's your value proposition for our business? What would you tell me? And I know I put you on the spot. Just do the best you can. I wouldn't say that in the interview. I'm saying that in the classroom.
Probably something along the lines of being able to adapt to different circumstances and being there when it's needed.
Yeah.
Doing what's done.
I like all that. Okay. The other thing I want you guys to develop this semester is your value proposition. Why should they hire you and not somebody else? Well, I'm hopeful when it's all said and done, it's because you know how to create a culture, you're resilient, and you have a high level of emotional intelligence and grit. Last but not least, I'd throw into the mix, I'm curious. That's what organizations are looking for today. People that are curious, people that want to learn, people that don't wait to be told what to do. People learn on their own, they take initiative, they go out and explore and find out what's going on, right? Then they persevere, grit. They persevere. They're emotionally intelligent, which we're going to talk about quite a bit in here. Yeah? You can solve conflict, and I'm resilient. I bounce back really well. Think about creating your own value proposition, right? And I hope that's one of the things you're able to do when we're finished with the course. I would encourage you to do that. And so when you shift from this classroom to that organization, you'll be able to deliver those things. You'll know how to behave in a meeting. And when I say behave, I don't mean that you're a 3-year-old. I mean how to comport yourself, where to sit, when to ask questions, how to create an effective meeting, things like that. So we've got a lot to talk about, but most of it's going to be geared toward you transitioning from a classroom into a business. One of the key mistakes that I see students do over and over again is they fail to put the organization first when they get out of the university. And that's why emotional intelligence is so important. Because with emotional intelligence, you'll learn to filter things through an objective perspective with more empathy than your typical subjective, egocentric perspective as a young adult. And look, we all had that. But your goal now is to grow and to evolve into that adult. And if you want to be successful from the get-go, you have to learn to put the organization first. And that's not an easy thing to do, but it's what you have to do. And if you can do that, you're going to get hired and you're going to make an impact on a business pretty quickly. So that'll be good. All right, so treating this like a business organization, then we're going to have a couple of ground rules. One, we're going to have a very positive culture. When we speak to each other, we're going to do so kindly. Yep. If we're going to laugh, we can laugh. Look, I know a lot of you, and we might laugh, and I'm cool with that. If you want to make fun of me, have at it. But we're not going to make fun of each other. And if somebody says something that we disagree with, we're going to disagree without being disagreeable. We don't call anybody names. We don't say, oh, that's a dumb idea. There's no such thing. You just see it differently, right? We're going to be respectful of each other's time. Try to be on time. I realize it's challenging in Houston to be on time. Do the best you can. If you're late, please go ahead and come in the class. It won't bother us. If we have presentations going on, please wait till the presentation is over before you come in. Before you come into the class. All right? I'm not going to throw anything at you. I'm not going to make fun of you if you're late. Now, if you're late every day, we may have to talk about you getting a watch instead of relying on your phone. But other than that, you know, you're an adult. You decide what's important to you. Now, having said that, as you'll read in the syllabus, we have an attendance policy, and there's a reward if you're really good at attendance, and there's some consequences if you're not so good. But those are your choices as an adult. Okay? Some other things as an organization. This is going to be a little different than your organization, but if I'm the CEO and you're working for a department and you're not going to be in that day, are you going to send an email to the CEO? No. You're going to communicate with whoever your direct report is, right? Okay. I am not your direct report. You're an adult. If you're not going to make it to class, I'm going to assume you got a good reason. I don't need to know about it. Neither does Spencer. Okay? I don't need an email that says, hey, I'm not going to be here. Or, oh, by the way, my family's taking me to Vegas for my 22nd birthday. I'm going to miss 18 days of class. I don't need to know any of that. You're an adult. You go. You understand the consequences of your choices, and that's part of the decision that you make. Got it? If you miss class, if you send me an email that says, what did I miss? I'm going to fail you. Do you understand? You're an adult. You get with people in the class. You listen to the podcast. You find out. That's your responsibility. Adults are responsible people. Everybody get that? All right. Listen to this part carefully. Everybody, look at me. And I'm going to say this once, and then it goes into effect starting now. We do not use mobile devices in this classroom. Laptops, phones, tablets, closed now. We won't be shopping on Amazon in here. Why do I do that? Don't everybody speak at once. What do you think, young man, with the coffee? Actually, I'm a huge mobile device user. I use it constantly. Actually, this is all I use anymore. I couldn't even tell you what a computer is anymore. I use this, and I do a lot of things, and that has every file, book, finance. You guys are so lucky to be alive right now and to be working in this space. It's awesome. To do now in 3 minutes what used to take me a day and a half. It's crazy. So I'm a big mobile device fan. But here's the reason why. Every study shows that mobile devices in the classroom are distracting and really dilute the learning process. They also are not just distracting for the person using them, but they're distracting for all of the people around the person using them. So we're not going to use them in here. And I've been doing this for about 4 or 5 years. Those of you that had me for intro, we didn't use them then, did we? All right. And look, here's the deal. This is a commitment that I'm asking you to make. Adults keep their commitments. Yes? All right. So I'm going to trust you, but verify they're not using them. So if you're addicted to your iPhone, you may not want to take this class. Because the first time I catch you using your iPhone in class, it's a 5-page paper. Second time I catch you, it's a 25-page paper. Third time I catch you, it's a 100-page paper. We all clear? All right. So you'll be fine without it. It's good practice to be without it. How many of you are addicted to your mobile device? Raise your hand. It's okay. A lot of people are. I find myself being addicted to it from time to time. I have to throw it in the back seat. How many of you text and drive? Raise your hand. It's okay. We just don't want to be near you when you're driving. Let's work on that this semester. I thought we solved that in intro. Apparently we didn't. Yeah, I know, on the red lights, right? I'll let you go on the red lights. But other than that, let's try to not do it, right? That's being a little egocentric, right? Look, you may come out okay, but what if you injure somebody else because you're doing that? What happens if you got in an accident because you were texting and driving and you walked away without any problems at all, but you killed the other person? Do you think that would change your life going forward? That's not something you want to do in your life. Be cognizant about that, right? That's about being an adult. It's hard. Look, it's hard to get all this. You guys have so much in the way of distraction. I got friends, they'll read the paper, put on makeup, and text and have breakfast while they're driving to work. Is that you? Oh, okay. So just be cognizant that there are other people in the world, right? But that's becoming an adult. So no mobile devices, right? Now, every now and then I might say, hey, look this up. Or you might want to put a reminder in your phone. I'm cool with that as long as it goes back into its place right afterward. Everybody good? All right. Another thing about an organization. There's not a textbook in this course. When you go to work for a business, they're not going to give you a textbook that lays out exactly what goes on. Now, hopefully they'll give you a mission, core values, and goals, right? They'll set direction for you, which we will do, all of those things. They're going to train you, which we will do in here as well. And then what do they want you to do? They want you to go achieve your goals, right? When your GM gives you those goals you talked about earlier, does he sit there and work with you the entire time? Does he tell you exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to go about doing it once you've been trained? No, he doesn't micromanage you, right? And I'm not going to do that either. We're going to set out our objectives. We're going to give you assignments to go out and research. We're going to have paths for you to practice those tools that we want you to have, right? But then it's up to you. I invariably get some comments at the end of the semester on the evaluations. He didn't tell us what's on the test. Right. And I'm not going to start now. I'll give you a review. I'll help you get prepared. But that's not life. Life is learning to listen, connect the dots, review, reflect, study, prepare, and deliver. And that's what we're going to do in here. Everybody, yes? You good with that? You up for the challenge? All right, because I'm not going to put a PowerPoint up on the board. Every now and then I will. But typically I won't. You're going to learn from doing, thinking, and discussing. And it moves quickly for the most part. And my expectation is that you're going to do the research we ask you to do, and you're going to be prepared when you come into the class. Right, Cass? I do remember your name. Okay. All good? All right. Structure of the class. I know grades are important. I wish they weren't, but they are. Dorinka. Proud of myself. All right. So we're going to ask you to post when you look at the, by the way, are all of you familiar with Blackboard? Everybody by now? Okay. So on Blackboard's where you'll find the syllabus. You'll find the schedule. And you'll find, on the schedule, you'll find the assignments. You'll see an assignment that's due for a particular day. You'll also see a note with that assignment that says post due 11:59 p.m. You have until 11:59 p.m. the night before this class to submit your post on Blackboard about the topic that we've assigned for the day. Strategic management, goals, whatever it is. Right? If you have trouble with your post at all or locating how to find the post on Blackboard, Spencer is your guy. All right? There are 150 words. Right? Set them up 150. 150 words. It's half a page. That's part of your attendance, part of your participation, part of the engagement in the class. All right? Those are going to be due every time we talk about it. You'll also write 2 papers in this class. One will be with a teammate, possibly 2. This is a bigger class than I was anticipating. I might put you in teams of 3, but probably not. Probably teams of 2. Because one of the things I want you to walk away with is learning how to work on a team. So you'll work as a team on one paper. You'll do the second paper by yourself. That's your leadership philosophy. Comes toward the end of the semester. You'll also do a presentation in here. It is 4 minutes long. There'll be 3 of you per team. And you'll get 2 weeks to prepare the presentation and deliver it. We'll have them throughout the semester. All right? All right. Then there will be 2 exams. There'll be a midterm and one toward the end of the semester that's semi-comprehensive. The first exam is relatively easy. Scale of 1 to 10, it's about a 4.5, but don't let that fool you. You need to study for it. I tell you that so you can have some understanding that the second exam is typically quite difficult for students. And on a difficulty scale, it's about an 8 to a 9. And the difference is, quite frankly, the first exam kind of brings you up to speed with our concepts and our goals in the course. The second exam requires you to apply those concepts and to think prioritize, assess, distinguish. And it's just harder. But we will do lots of things in this class to help you to think differently and to teach you how to think critically that will help you perform well on that exam. So if you come to class, you do your posts, you do your research, you engage in the discussions in the class, you really shouldn't have any trouble with either exam, and you should do just fine in the class. All right. Questions? Yes, ma'am. There are not, but it's such a good question. And are you interested in why not? No, it doesn't matter. I'm okay if you're not. If you're okay, I just thought you might want to know. Okay. I never have in my 30 years of teaching. I find my challenge with extra credit is typically I like to be equitable, and I find that not everybody can take advantage of them, right? And the other thing I do is I try to plug in lots of different ways to get a grade. Posts, papers, presentation, research. Yeah. So if one path is not suited best for one person, it typically can make it up typically someplace else. So that's why I don't do it. Now, having said that, and why it's such a great question, is I also, at the end of the semester, if you don't have the grade you made, I'm sorry, I am not going to give you an opportunity to do something to make a better grade. That is not fair to all the other students that didn't get that opportunity. Okay. So thanks for asking that. It's a very good question. All right. Anything else? You have another question. Tell me your name.
Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi. What is the typical grade that you do in this course?
The average grade in this class is probably going to be a mid-B. Yeah. Yeah. We'd have, let me qualify that just a little bit. We have very few A's in this class. Typically 1 or 2. A's. We'll typically have a few more A minuses. Then we'll have a good number of B pluses and B's. And then we typically will have a significant number of C minuses and C pluses. It's rare. If people are coming to class, it's rare that people will make lower than a C plus in here. If they do, it's usually because of the consequences of the attendance policy. Right? But you gotta be engaged, you gotta perform. Does that help? Okay. All right, sure. Anything else? Yes, ma'am. Why are there so few A's? I've asked myself that question before. And I'm going to share with you what I've come up with. First of all, this class is a capstone class. So the rigor is a little more challenging than most of the classes in the curriculum. Right? Because it's a combination of all the work you've done up until now. The second reason is because many students do not adapt well to the teaching style. They're used to, in this curriculum and in others, to PowerPoints, taking notes, and then regurgitating those notes on an exam. And that's just not what I do. And I don't think it's an effective learning approach, nor teaching approach. And I think that has an impact. I think the other reason is because this course requires you to think, and to think deeply. And I find that in many instances, students have not been challenged to do that in their other classes. There you go. Happy to hear your perspective if you have a different one. No. Okay. Yeah. So that's why. But it doesn't mean. Hey, man. My goal at the beginning of every semester is for every student in the class to get an A. So that's my goal. So you set your goal. And I'll do whatever I can, Spencer will too, to help you get there. Yeah. And look, if it was up to me, you wouldn't get grades. You wouldn't. I'm just not a big believer in them, but I gotta fit within the infrastructure of the university. So, how many of you would like a class where you didn't get a grade? Raise your hand. How many of you find grades to be very helpful? Yeah. That's just, it's a real dichotomy of thought, but it's an interesting conversation. All right. Speaking of conversations, and just to kick us off a little bit, we'll talk more about the logistics of the class after you've had a chance to look at the syllabus and the schedule on Thursday, right? Oh, by the way, for Thursday, I would like for you guys, those of you in the intro class and law class, you're familiar with this, but please do it again. Those of you who have never had me for a professor, please go on to Blackboard, and there is a My Commitments. It's set up as a quiz. Please read it carefully. It will lay out for you the expectations that we have for you as a student in this class. And please submit that once you've read it and if you agree to it, right? That's how we'll manage that. All right? Okay. Hey, how many of you are signed up for the listserv that the college puts out? All right. Look, I know you guys get bombarded with stuff, but at this stage in your academic career, Spencer has posted the link for you to sign up with your email for the college listserv. Sorry, guys. I encourage you to sign up for that. Like just this morning, it had a list of all the internships that are available, lots of working opportunities. It's going to talk about career fair before long. So how many of you are graduating this semester? And how many of you are graduating in May? Okay, so now's the time, right? You want to be thinking about that. So I would encourage you to sign up with that listserv and get those announcements. I think it could be very beneficial for you going forward. Right? It's one of the things you pay for. You should take advantage of those things. All right, good. All right, so in order to create structure for this class, we've created in the syllabus a list of objectives, learning outcomes that we want you to achieve by the time the semester is over. So look at those, and look at them all in context. Context is important. That's how you connect the dots, right? So do that. Also, there's a lot of PowerPoints. There's one that supports almost every topic that we're going to talk about in class. If it were me, I would print that PowerPoint out for that topic, bring it to class, and that's what I would use to take notes on. Plus, if you've gone outside and researched the topic, look at the PowerPoint. Actually, I'd do it the other way. I'd look at the PowerPoint, then I'd go out and research the topic. You're going to be well prepared for the discussion in class. All right? All right. So, let's don't talk about leadership just yet. Let's talk about something that makes us think a little differently. It's a topic that's near and dear to my heart, even perhaps yours, if I remember correctly. What if I said to you, we need to get rid of tipping in the United States of America? Oh, I didn't say what the word, but what if I said we need to get rid of tipping? How many of you think that would be a good idea? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Everybody else thinks it's not a good idea. Okay, those of you that think it's a good idea, come stand over here in the corner. Now it's you guys against the world. Okay, why do we need to get... You guys are going to respond. You, everybody else. Now, if you, during the course of this discussion, begin to shift your perspective, then get up and move over to this group. If you shift your perspective, go back and take your seat. Got it? Okay. Why do we need to get rid of tipping? You want to start us off? I said get rid of tipping. Oh, you want to go back? You already changed your mind? That didn't take long. All right.
I think it varies based on the type of business you run. Say fine dining, I don't think tipping's good. I know New York already took away some of the tipping. Reason being is it's very addictive. Even though you have great service and everything, the customer you're taking care of may not think the same thing, and they might not tip. Most restaurants who don't tip, they put the tip already included in the meal. I know a couple other countries do that already. One of them would be like Vietnam. They do the same thing as well.
And do they pay a higher wage?
For Vietnam specifically?
Oh, no, just other countries that don't have a tipping culture.
Most Asian countries don't have a tipping culture. They generally do pay a little bit higher, but at the same time, in the States, the wages are a lot higher.
Okay, other reasons why we shouldn't have tipping.
Me?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm already like on the border, like I could go
Okay.
I don't want to come over to town.
All right.
To me, when I like go to a restaurant and the service is bad, I like still feel.
All right, hold on one second. We're going to shift a little bit our viewpoint. I want you to speak to them. That's all right.
So when like the service is bad, I still feel obligated to give a tip, and I like hate that because even if like they were so bad servers, they like expect the tip.
Okay, very good. How about you, sir?
I think it affects like service quality. Sometimes there's a lot of places that give the tip before you even get what you're asked for, like a meal or anything. Or if you get like coffee, it says, "Would you like to add a tip?" I don't know what the service is going to be like. So if I don't put a tip, I feel like the drink that I get or the food I get is not going to be as good as it should be.
Fair point. Yes, ma'am.
I think employees are lazy, to be completely honest.
Okay.
I think
Now, we're all employees in some respect. Yeah, yeah.
specifically, I think like millennials got extremely lazy,
Ah.
and especially servers.
Are you guys millennials? Or Z? Are you guys Z?
No, we're millennials.
You're millennials?
If you're past 2000, it's 1995. Yeah.
Oh, that's the cutoff?
For millennials? For millennials and Gen Z.
All right, we'll come back to that. All right.
Right there.
Go ahead. Gen Y. Okay.
Okay. Anyway, I think we're lazy.
All right.
And I think I'm tired of seeing servers that make more money than I do in tips because they just give great service to their tables, not put in the same effort for the team, and not like support the culture and don't do enough for the entire establishment. That they shouldn't necessarily be making the money that I'm not making because I'm busting my ass to make sure that everybody else has everything they need, including my tables, but I'm not making the same amount of money.
Interesting. Okay. Yes, sir.
Like mentioned before, I would just say the main thing is like it kind of feels necessary to give,
Right?
even though necessarily the service isn't all that great, but you feel bad for everyone else that is affected in the restaurant or the establishment, whatever you're tipping for, because the server that is helping you is not necessarily the only person that's impacted if they're like moving on.
Okay, good. Ethan?
Emily. I would piggyback and collaborate with Emily. Tip culture, in my opinion, directly correlates with the mercenary culture of serving. People don't care about the company. They'll go wherever they can make money, which is great. It's a great opportunity. But I think it diminishes the quality employees or the value of quality employees at businesses. So if you are a server and you're a great server, depending on whether they do tip share or tip pool, you could be way better than some of the other servers who make the exact same. You could also be a great server and make bounds and loads more than other people, and it's hard as the lower servers and the intro people to see how to get to that point. It's hard to bridge a gap between those two. And then also from the manager perspective, it's difficult, though I 100% support my colleagues, but it is difficult as the manager of a restaurant every night to put in the tips and realize I could be doing way less and be making a whole lot more. In terms of your actual input into a company, you make financially more, less in terms of the benefits or potential to move up in a company, but it's not a proper balance if you ask me.
Okay, very good. Something different.
Yeah, I feel
Hold on just one second. While we're talking about getting rid of things, should we get rid of car alarms as well that are going? Okay, go ahead. I think you make a very good point. How many of you felt awkward around a tip before? Tipping, yeah. No? Never feel awkward? You're just good with it. You're good with it. 30%. You're a server, aren't you? You're a server. Okay, hold on. That's okay. I like that. Tension. I think it can be awkward attention, even though some of our people don't get it. But I think some people could. Yes, sir. And you?
I think it creates like an expectation of, as a service perspective.
Yeah.
If I do really well, I'm going to be tipped really well.
Okay.
Really, you should just be paid to do your job.
To do the job. Right. Yes.
It's a matter of fairness. I don't think I'm not a server, I've never been a server, but I have friends who have been. I don't think it's fair that servers get paid $3, $4 an hour when they do just as much work as anybody at a different company. So they should, I think, get paid to do their job, and tipping just shouldn't be a requirement or the way you make money at your job. It just shouldn't. You should already be paid for what you do.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Spokesperson. Let's see. Hold on. Oh, here we go. 30%er. Tell us your name. Zach. Lay it on. Zach, now wait. Hold on just one second. Look, let's learn while we're doing this exercise. It's for fun, but it's also a thinking exercise. I want you to be, can you be open to other people's perspectives? Not just you in general, but I mean in particular, but everybody in general. That's one thing, right? We listened, so that's important. But number two, when you're listening to people's perspective, is it important to understand where that perspective is coming from? Okay, so real quick, how many of you have ever worked in a tipped position? Almost everybody. Zach, right? Do you work in a tipped position now? Currently. Okay, so just you. Is it fair? That's a bit of an inherent bias. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying you're going to profess. I'm just saying that it's important that when we are testing the validity of things that people say or we read about, is the source important? And is it objective or subjective, correct? Okay, so you currently are receiving tips at your company, and you do pretty well with your tips, right? So is it fair that your opinion is going to be somewhat subjective?
I do have a bias.
Yeah, okay, that's good. And look, some of these people do too. What's important to me is that people begin to recognize where bias comes from, where those conflicts come from, and to be able to assess credibility of opinions and content. That's crucial for being a leader. Everybody good? Zach, it's all yours.
Yeah, just real quick. So I hear and respect what everyone has to say. But personally speaking, I'm a waiter in a fine dining establishment, and I feel sometimes it incentivizes me, meaning the better service I give, the better the tip I do receive, which is good, and I'm definitely catering to River Oaks, the oil and money millionaires. So that's where that's good for me. Also, tipping's important, or being a server, you tip out to the busboys and you tip out to the bar and the hostesses. So you're tipping out, like we even pay our credit card transactions. So we're technically cutting back the restaurant's costs in a way. It's not a significant cost because your credit card transactions for every 2 weeks are $45 or so. But it's just something to think about. I mean, tipping's good for the economy. It puts money into other people's pockets. I understand that giving someone a fair wage does the same thing. I personally like it, though. That's just me.
That's fine. That's good. And it's a good start. Thank you. And I love the way you started out. I agree with what you have to say and respect your opinion. That was very nice. Yes, ma'am. And remind me of your name.
Audrina.
Audrina.
I totally agree with y'all too, the management perspective as well, because I have.
Speak up a little bit just so everybody can.
Sorry.
That's all right.
So I've been in both positions. Like right now, I do have a bias because I'm a bartender, so I get tips. But I've also worked as like a spa receptionist, so I've also gotten like the hourly. And I think it kind of goes both ways as far as like for like as one person, like me personally getting a check works for me, but like I prefer like to work a night and then like go home with like a couple $100. Like I think certain people like have that expectation or that need to kind of
So you like the ability of people to have an option.
Yeah.
I think that's free market. Fair point. How about somebody over here? Warren.
So I think personally the biggest
Speak up just a little bit, Warren.
I think for me, the biggest argument that I personally have against getting rid of tipping is really when you look at the economics behind how it affects the business. Like Zach mentioned, the waiters tip out to the busboys, they tip out to the barbacks, they tip out to the hostesses. There's a lot of positions in restaurants that need to be staffed and need a lot of people. Now, one thing that makes restaurants work with tipping is you can make good money in a short amount of time. So you can have a rotating staff of people that can cover a lot of different hours and a lot of different shifts without having to have a million people on your payroll. You have them for the, I think, $235 that they get paid, but it's a small cost. It's not a huge impact on the business.
213.
213, thank you. Whereas if you have everyone on payroll saying making, I don't know, $850, you have to cut back on staff. You now have to pay all the people that were getting paid by tips now have to be paid out of the restaurant pockets themselves, which drives up costs in a huge way and can just really, it would really cost a lot of jobs, and that flexibility would be lost because now they want people on set schedules, and so it disincentivizes people to work in the service industry.
Fair point? Yes?
I think the second half of this conversation is looking at where, if you were an establishment that did get rid of tipping, where you would put that extra cost. Because I understand somebody was here mentioned that it's uncomfortable to tip. And I totally understand that. And I think if you made tipping like the idea of like tipping the manager, over the door or the valet kind of. I think if you would have to almost put that into a market where you could collect those tipping costs onto like menu or other options and then have people that were willing to come pay for those things. But it would have to be like a total change. I don't think you could have both worlds. I don't think you could have places where you do tip for people to make money and places where you don't, because that doesn't make sense.
Fair point. Yes, ma'am?
I don't know if anybody else knows this. I didn't know this till this summer. My uncle opened a seafood restaurant in Arizona, and their servers get a base pay of $7.50
Uh-huh.
plus tips. So all of their servers make about $30+ an hour.
Uh-huh.
It all equals out. So I thought that was really interesting because I thought that all servers started off when I was a server. I got to
13.
13.
Uh-huh. Some states have opted out of what's called the tip credit wage. Yeah?
And so I think that's really that's just wanting to.
You like that? Okay. Did you have your hand up next to her? Yes, ma'am?
I kind of forgot what else. Oh,
Okay.
no. So I still don't really have a stance on whether I agree with tipping or don't agree with tipping. I kind of see both sides. But for your argument, I would like to say that, okay, so, if your friend jumps off the bridge, are you going to do it too? But
Some people will.
I mean, other countries are doing just fine with their restaurants and their businesses without tipping. So I think we can definitely easily, join that as well. Just because it might change your food costs and whatnot and how you do your finances, but everyone else is, or not everyone else, but, other people are doing it, so why can't we?
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I think we do see models where it is successful. I think that's a fair point. Cassidy, and then I've got one more over here, and then I've got to pose a couple of questions, and you guys will be able to chime in then.
I just wanted to make something clear about both sides. So I can go back and forth on both sides.
Yeah.
So the whole thing about the tipping part, though, I do think that there should be like a stop to tipping in certain areas. Like example, I'm sorry if anyone's ever worked, but the Cougar, whatever thing is.
Cougar Grounds?
The coffee, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone's they ask for a tip. I'm sorry, I don't think you deserve a tip because you didn't work.
You're on the counter.
You're basically a Starbucks worker. Like, what did you do?
Okay.
I feel like
A
it's
Starbucks worker. Okay, that's a new term, a stereotype. Okay, that's good. I'm not being crap. I'm just laughing. I think it's great. Okay.
So I just don't believe why are you asking me for a tip? And they're not the only place.
Let's stop right there for just a second and let's see. How many of you feel like servers today or encounter personnel expect a tip no matter what? Of course, everybody over here does. You guys kind of feel that way. Okay, I want to keep going though. You had a thought. Okay, yeah. So your point is, Cassidy, that
Just things like that, I just don't.
Yeah.
I feel like if you go out and you got
Yeah.
the whole complete dining service,
Yeah.
okay, then yeah, like tip them out.
Well, that's a fair question. Just real quick, how many of you feel like there should be tipping in select service establishments, like where you go up and you order at the counter and then all they're going to do is bring the food to you, right? But they're the ones that have the iPad that flip it around right in front of you, and they go, here you go, fill this out while I'm looking at you. It goes back to your awkwardness. Somebody was talking about awkwardness. Yeah, okay. I apologize. Your name is? Malik.
So I really feel like you have to look at it from like different perspectives, like from the management point of view, or like from the owner point of view, like what he was saying and what she was saying. Like of course, people tip out certain areas. Where I work at, we tip out. Well, it's 3.5% of their total sales, so that money goes to hostesses, dishwashers,
Bussers.
and that.
There could be bus girls.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And but if, in my opinion, I feel like if you stop doing that, not only will it make like with I'm just saying it,
So-
will make it to where it's out of position. You're trying to cut costs. You're trying to cut labor because labor is one of the biggest things.
It is. So it gives the management a little more flexibility. Fair point.
It will make everything else go up, like the prices of the menu, because now you're paying that waiter at $8.50 to manage the tables as well. Make your prices go up on your menu. And then from the waiter's point of view, I mean, people are wanting to be a waiter because they want that cash up there. They want that quick cash. And it, like he said, it's an incentive. I mean, why, if she does a good job, if she does her job, you know, at certain, it's a 15% tip, but if he can go above and beyond and do his job and do it better than her, I mean, I feel like it's only customary to, you know, give him more money.
18 to 20% tip. Free market. Hold that thought. Real quick, Zach, and I'll get back to Colin, and I'll get up to Sarah. Zach?
Well, so I'm just going to ask two questions. Other than the food service industry, and we'll come back to this, but what would be another industry where tipping is more acceptable that we could all, you know what I mean? Like if someone pumps your gas. Hair salon, exactly. So that means that, and also in terms of food industry, if someone gives you bad service, other than the moral remorse you could feel, what's so bad about not tipping or leaving them $1 and just writing, hey, the service was slow, yada, yada, yada. I know it may feel awkward and weird, but it shouldn't take away from the good service that other, you know, good waiters give.
Fair point. Help me to understand your point about the fact that tipping exists in other.
Yeah, so you go to
It just does. It exists in those places. Okay, I get that. I want to be sure I caught your point. Got it. Sarah, and then I'll get to Colin. That's got to be the last word. But I have two questions I want to pose. Sarah.
Okay, so I have a few things that I want to say.
All right.
Firstly, like a lot of y'all were saying that like it's a morality issue and y'all are like not concerned, but like it's awkward giving a tip, right? Well, there's a lot of things in life that are going to be awkward. Like you're going to have to do things you don't want to do. And if you don't want to tip somebody, just don't leave a tip. And then they know their service was bad, you know? They know they did a bad job. They know they need to improve.
Or that you were broke and you didn't have the money to tip them.
You flip it around, if you do take the tips away and you have to increase prices, what if you still get poor service? You know? What happens if you still get bad service?
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. I think very, very, very fair. Colin.
I think, well, like, first of all, I'm like 100% biased just because I am a server.
Yep. Where do you work, if you don't mind?
Brasserie 19.
Yeah, okay.
Like, making tips is like my income.
That's it.
For rent,
Right.
bills,
Sure.
school.
Right. Thanks for that preface.
Looking at it outside of that perspective, though, I think that if I had a server job or any form or position where tips were accustomed to the job and they were removed, knowing in my mind that on a busy night, let's just say I had like $5,000 in sales, 20% or even 15% is like $750 to $1,000 in tips I could have made that night. But knowing that I'm going home, that I work 7 hours at, let's just
Say $20 an hour, $140.
would kill me.
Kill you.
Like, oh, it would just
Yeah.
ruin my day.
Yeah, because the horse is already out of the barn. In other words, if you had never made the kind of money before, 140 wouldn't be a bad wage for a college student. Is that fair?
Yeah, and
For 7.
adding on to that, the management is a big thing too.
I think you make a fair point. Let me pose two questions, guys. I want to get through this, and then I want to talk about some other things. Here's my question. Is tipping really related to service?
Most of it, no.
Sometimes. What do you tell me your name? Piper.
I think that service can have a lot to do with the culture of like the establishment.
Yeah.
That having good management, having a good like mission,
Yep.
having the right people. Like if you're a manager, you put the right people put them together and have a strong culture,
Mm-hmm.
then you don't have to worry about money being motivation.
Okay. And I think you're right about that. I'm not quite sure it comes to my question, though. Let me ask it a different way in a different format. So let's put Colin and Zach together, and you guys kind of listen in so that you can kind of respond as well. But let's say, because both of you work at sounds like pretty high-end restaurants. I'm familiar with Brasserie 19. Zach, where do you work if you don't? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm in there all the time. Yeah. What happens in Carrabba's stays in Carrabba's. I personally think Carrabba's is one of the busiest restaurants in the city. It's remarkable how the volume Johnny's been able to create over there is really unbelievable. If you want to learn how to create the business of a restaurant, I think you could learn a lot from Johnny Carrabba. We should actually have him come to the class sometime. Yeah, we should. But let me ask this question. So if you and Colin, or you guys work in restaurants, and let's say you get a two-top, right? A deuce comes in, and they stay there for an hour and a half. They both spend $100 on food and $100 on a bottle of wine. So a $200 tab, right? So what's your, and I don't mean expected in a pejorative way, but what's your customary tip on a $200 bill? $40, 20%, right? It's a little high-level service, right? Everybody kind of agree and on board with that, right? Okay. Now, same couple, same day, same time, same food order, but instead of a $100 bottle of wine, they order a $1,000 bottle of wine. Same service, don't have a sommelier. You guys did it. You handled it. You delivered the wine. What's the expected tip? Hold on. No, wait. You just got to answer the question. All right.
A lot of people in the fine dining have a rule of thumb where they tip on the wine or no. So a lot of my tabs will tip on the food per se. And honestly, I think as a server, it's the experience you give them overall. If you're a run-of-the-mill waiter and you gave them the same service with that $1,000 bottle of wine as you gave them a $100 bottle of wine, what's the big deal? You get $40. Your sales and the tips will be way off proportion.
Yeah, because you got to tip out on the 1,040 or whatever it was, the 1,100. I'm glad to hear you think that because not everybody sees it that way. Colin?
Yeah, I would fully expect 20%.
You would expect 20%, right? But here's the deal. Was there any more service?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, well, I don't know.
Wait. It's a bottle of wine.
I work at Vic and Anthony's.
Yeah, so you got the same challenge.
We have, I would say, like $5,000 a bottle of wine.
Right, but I'm not talking about 5,000. I'm talking about 1,000.
And the effort going in to open up that $5,000 bottle of wine, you get the decanter, you get the candle, you get the.
I'm not talking about a $5,000 bottle of wine. I'm talking about a $1,000 wine. You can make it a $300 bottle of wine that you go to the back and you pull it out and you uncork it at the table and you pour it. Let's say that. No, it's not to look at the draw. Here's the point, and I think you guys get this. Tipping today is not based on service. How does everybody in this room decide on how much to tip? Is it based on service? No. What's it based on? It's based on the bill. And by the way, you never tip on tax. Never. That's clearly not part of the service. Right, Colin? No, Colin. 8.25% is never based on the service. My point is, ladies and gentlemen, if we're going to tip, let's tip on service. But society doesn't do that. Society tips on the size of the bill. So the argument that it encourages or incentivizes service, I'm going to push back on that because I don't think it does, and I think everybody in this room just proved it, right? Nobody tips on service. They tip. If we tipped on service, you wouldn't have 10%, 15%, 20%, and you guys I was in the food and beverage industry for a long time, we would never put those little things out that say, well, 15% tip would be this, 20% would be this, 25% would be this, right? And if you do that, don't ever include the tax in that item, right? Because if you do, you're committing fraud, because that's not part. What?
What about how taxes come out of your business?
That's different. Wait. That's income tax. That's not sales tax.
Well, I personally, like, say I buy a $20 sandwich and I get the tab and it's like $23. I'm going to tip on top of the $23 because I know that my tip is going to get deducted from my server because they're going to get taxed on the check. So I'm just making up for it.
You have to pay income tax.
Wait. Everybody's got to pay income tax. You're talking. We've got a sales tax, which is what I'm talking about, and you're talking about an income tax that the server has to pay on the tip. But everybody in the country has to pay that, right? What I'm talking about is the sales tax should not be included in the food and beverage total because it absolutely had nothing to do with the service. Is that fair? Yeah. I mean, you charge $20 for the steak. If it's $20, it wasn't very good. But you charge $20 for it. You charge for the salad. You charge for the wine because you served that. You delivered that, right? The add-on of 8.25% of sales tax, nothing to do with service. Is that fair? Okay, that's all I'm trying to establish. I appreciate your generosity in helping the Starbucks person get a little more dough. But I want to move on to one other question real quick. Zach, Colin, if four of us, strike that, if two of us come in and sit down in your sections, how much time are you actually going to spend at our table? Yep. Have you ever thought about that? How many... No, that's not what I'm asking. You guys are all good about deflecting and going someplace else. What I want to know is, have you ever thought about how many minutes you actually spend at a two-top?
So let me put it this way.
Okay.
I do feel guilty sometimes.
I want you to feel guilty. It's in church.
There's sometimes where a couple walks in, they sit down, they order, they know exactly what they want, take their order, get them their drinks, the food's already in, and I give them no service. You know, they're happy. It doesn't take away from, you know, their pleasurable experience. So how much time is definitely a varied question, because there's some times where I have a pork top, it's their first time at Carrabba's, you know, I give the appetizers, here's the wine menu, here's a great drink we have, yada yada. I give them the show essentially. You know,
How much time?
minutes wise, probably 45 minutes.
Zach, there's no way you're spending 45 minutes at a... No, they might be in the restaurant 45 minutes. No. I want to know.
35 seconds each little segment.
And you might do that 10 times?
Yeah.
Maybe. Right? Maybe. 10 times, so that's 350 seconds. Divided by 6, that's 6 minutes total. Now think about that. 6 minutes total, and let's say they spent $200. Hold on. You got a $40 tip on that table that you spent 6 minutes with. Did I do my math right? 6 minutes with, right? That's the equivalent of $400 an hour. Sit tight. Wait. That's the equivalent of, does everybody see the math? Hold on. Everybody simmer. Do you see that's the equivalent of $400 an hour? All right. Now, how much time did those cooks in the back spend preparing that meal? Oftentimes all day. Getting ready, prepping, getting ready. And arguably, the team of cooks back there spent more time than you did on that meal. Okay, so here's my question that I want you to walk away with. I know you servers are going to look because that's why we talk about jacket. Hold on. Just hold on. Let me answer the question before you answer it, dude. Hold on. Why should the server... Wait a minute. Doesn't the food have as much to do with it? What do we sell? Are we just selling your service?
I don't like my steak. I don't like my
Hold on, dude. What do we sell? Do we just sell service? What do we sell? We sell an experience, don't we? Who said that? Exactly. We sell an experience. It's all cleanliness, safety, sanitation, service, product. We sell all of that. You just make up a small piece of that. Why do you get $400 an hour equivalent? And why does the cook, who arguably has just as much to do with the experience as you do, gets $9.50 an hour? No. Hold on. I don't want you to answer. I want you to think about it carefully. And then I want you to come back and tell me on Thursday. Because that is the crux of the issue when you talk to people that are trying to go without tipping. It's an income equality challenge. And you need to ask yourself that. And if you don't think that's not a leadership challenge in question, man, it's troubling. The same trouble you're going to have, as I don't remember who mentioned it, but Zach and Colin, just because I know, I'm sorry, your name? Myers. You guys are all at the higher end in your restaurants. You guys are making good tips. It's going to be challenging for you to leave those jobs and go into a long-term management career. Because when you start out as a manager, you're not going to make near the money you're making now in tips. And I'm not saying I'm not being critical of that. I'm just saying you're going to have that challenge. That's an internal leadership concept. Are you willing to give up the short term for the long term? That's the issue you're going to have to face. All right, you guys go sit down. Nobody shifted. That's too bad. All right, so I left that question with you. Please think about it, all of you. And ladies, I know in the back I couldn't get to your...
I just wanted to know if you've ever worked in a service industry.
Me? Yeah, I've owned restaurants. I've been a bartender, a server. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I want to know that.
Yeah, I used to make a ton of money in tips.
I know, and I did too. That's why I'm just like, I feel like there should be that option for people to...
Listen, I get the draw of tipping. I understand. I'm not being critical of it one way. We're not leaving yet, Sima. Hold on. I get that, and I'm not being critical of it. I just wanted you to hopefully see that people could have different perspectives. I thought the first group did a very good job of articulating it and expressing themselves, why they felt like there shouldn't be tipping. I thought the group in here, the people in here that spoke, did just the same. And I felt like everybody was respectful of everybody else's thought process. And that's crucial, and I was glad we got to demonstrate that as well. And I'm hopeful that the discussion encouraged you to at least be open to other perspectives than how you see it. Because effective leaders can listen to other people's perspectives. Doesn't mean you have to agree with it, but it means you're willing to listen and consider it. That's crucial. Zach, you had your hand up?
I was just going to ask, your question about, how I'm making $400 and then the real guy's making, $10 an hour.
$9.50.
Is there a skill set?
You think about that. I'm not going to give you an anticipatory reply. You think about it. Samir, enlighten us.
No, I just want to ask, is this what we're going to be doing for the last time?
Yeah. You okay with that? Because if you're not, we can change it. No, I'm just kidding. All right, hold on. Now, so what did you learn from this conversation? How to have a respectful conversation. So if you learned that, that's big. Okay, that's number one. What else did you learn? Different opinions, right? What else did you learn?
Controversial issues.
Can an issue be divisive? Yeah. I mean, if all of a sudden somebody turned around and said there's not going to be any tipping, I know at least 3 people are going to be pretty pissy. Right? Okay, so being a leader requires one to make choices. And are you going to make everybody happy? It's nice when it works that way, but it rarely does. And you've got to be prepared to make those choices. And it's not an easy thing to do. And you want to have a real struggle? How many have ever moved from a head waiter position or a line position into a supervisor and managed position, and now you're managing the people you used to work with? Have you done that? How did that go? Tell us your name, I'm sorry. Ali.
It's very difficult. Very difficult because at first you were all on the same level, and now, even if I'm younger than them and I'm above them, there's a very hard balance between getting the respect of the leadership and having the same respect of the culture.
Very challenging. Yeah, and you just mentioned something very interesting, all about diversity. You look around this room, diversity today isn't about color of people's skin, it's not about religion, it's not about all the other demographics that we tend to think about. Diversity today in the workplace is about age, and it's about you guys having to lead and manage people that are older than you. And you're going to need to get ready for that. So it's a lot to think about. So we're going to have some fun. We're going to think a lot. Look, between now and Thursday, please go onto Blackboard and do your My Commitments for me, okay? Second, when you come into class on Thursday, please bring a name card that you can set down in front of you. And on that card, put your name, just your first name, in big letters so that I can see it, right? And put something on there about yourself. If you like wine, it's a grape or a glass of wine. If you're into cannabis, put that on there. I don't care. If, whatever it is that rocks your world, put that on there so I can get a little feel for you and who you are. All right? Last but not least, I want you to study. I want you to go out and look at information either online or Spencer's created a reading packet on critical thinking. I want you to think about thinking. I want you to think about critical thinking. So that's what I want you to do when we come into class on Thursday. We're going to talk a little bit more about the course so you're comfortable with your papers and your presentations and the expectations there. But then we're going to dive right into thinking. Everybody good? See ya. Go have a great day.